Welcome to 2021. It's business as usual. No, not quite. Not at all as usual. But that's okay. On this episode, we'll explore ways to not only adapt, but thrive and grow in these weird times. All of this and more straight ahead in episode 5 of the Microsoft Advertising Download.
Microsoft Advertising.
The Download. The Download.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of The Download. I'm Jennifer Solomon-Baum. We're still in our desolate LA studio. You know, as much as we would like it to be, a new year is never a clean slate. There's always a transition period. And with this in mind, our theme for this episode is business, not as usual. There's still lots of challenges for businesses heading into 2021, but also lots of opportunities. And we're going to take a look at some of those. To help me with this is my co-host. He's still quarantined in Seattle, but through the magic of special effect and a $10 prop, I give you Jeffrey Colon. Hi, Jeff, and Happy New Year.
Hey, Jennifer. Happy New Year.
Is it okay to still wish each other Happy New Year? What's the etiquette here?
Well, the lunar year is actually February 12th, so I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. All right, what's cooking for this episode?
Yeah, so we have a very special Noodle coming up. It's an all LinkedIn session featuring the squad at LinkedIn's B2B Institute. John Lombardo, Peter Weinberg, and Ty Heath. They're going to be looking at 3 contrarian trends from a fascinating report they published at the end of last year. MJ De Palma is back in our Inclusive Marketing Lab. This time, she welcomes Tommy Hilfiger, Sarah Horton, and Christina Mallon from Wunderman Thompson. They're going to talk about the inclusive customer experience. And we have a product pop-up segment where our evangelist John Lee will debunk some myths about Microsoft Bing. You thought you knew, but there's much more than meets the eye.
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks, Jeff. We'll see you in a little bit. Let's kick it off with a look into our 2021 Trends Report. It's this month's Insight segment, voiced by our colleague, Daniel Skeen.
As we slowly get into the new year groove, what did we learn from 2020 that we can carry with us this year? We partnered with Suzy on a report called the 2021 State of the Consumer. We studied the tea leaves in 5 business verticals, identifying a key trend in each one. Let's get into it. Number 1, retail. We call our first trend liquid expectations. 80% of consumers say that the experience a brand provides is just as important as its products or services. Brands now have to meet consumers' rapidly changing needs in innovative ways and across multiple channels. Consumers expect instant gratification and seamless experiences from every brand they encounter. And with 58% of consumers planning to shop online even more after the pandemic, brands should prepare to go with the flow in 2021 and beyond. Number 2, health and wellness. Let's call this trend inclusive well-being. Inequality is in the crosshairs now more than ever, and it even shows up in categories like fitness, nutrition, and personal care. Our research shows that 23% of consumers feel their weight and body image causes them stress and anxiety. With new direct-to-consumer options offering accessible alternatives, health and wellness brands must be designed not only for all genders and races, but all sizes and disabilities as well. Number 3, travel. We have dubbed this new trend nostalgia tripping. Uncertainty during the pandemic has left travelers searching for comfort and safety in things that they know. This includes traveling with small groups of trusted companions. 43% of consumer surveys said that they are now more likely to travel with family than they did before the pandemic. And where people will venture will continue to focus on the familiar. Last year saw a huge spike in the good old-fashioned road trip. Car travel was up 37% during the summer. Look for this nostalgia tripping to continue in 2021 as consumers slowly get their taste for adventure back. Number 4, technology. We're calling this one the blended experience. With the door slamming shut on physical events, another one has opened. into an exciting digital world. Last year, a familiar but esoteric word became a part of the popular vocabulary: virtual. And while people are definitely missing real-world experiences, virtual components aren't going away. 2021 will usher in a new hybrid model where the physical and digital worlds blend, and technology can help live events scale much farther. And number 5, financial services. We're calling this the triple bottom line: people, planet, profit. Companies must show support for all three. According to Edelman, 73% of consumers surveyed believe organizations can take action that both increase their profits and improve conditions in the community. And 1/3 of consumers say they would be willing to pay more for eco-friendly tech options. Expect more companies to spotlight their commitment to social good and activist consumers to support them, or cancel the ones that don't. To read the full 2021 State of the Consumer Report, visit microsoftadvertising.com/blog.
In our Inclusive Marketing Lab this time, we're going to explore how a brand can create inclusive customer experiences that build trust, loyalty, and ultimately deliver great business results. MJ De Palma spent some time discussing this with Sarah Horton from Tommy Hilfiger, Christina Mallon from Wunderman Thompson. MJ, over to you.
Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is MJ De Palma. I'm the head of multicultural and inclusive marketing at Microsoft Advertising. My pronouns are she, her, and they and them. And in this Inclusive Marketing Lab, we're going to focus on getting to the heart of inclusive customer experiences because it leads to innovation and new market growth and a more trusted customer experience. So we have 2 incredible examples of business thought leaders who have joined us today. I'm so excited. Sarah Horton from Tommy Hilfiger and Christina Mallon from Wunderman Thompson.
My name is Sarah Horton. I'm the Senior Director of Innovation and Integrated Marketing at Tommy Hilfiger North America. I'm also the Global Marketing Lead for Tommy Adaptive, which is an initiative that started a few years ago, where we take our everyday clothing and adapt it for those with disabilities. We're all about inclusion at Tommy Hilfiger, and this was just a great next step. It started as an initiative for children as a capsule collection, and it's just grown.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina Mallon. I am a white female wearing a white shirt and I guess a gold scarf. What I do at Wunderman Thompson is I run all of their global inclusive design, so really helping brands figure out how do you be inclusive of different underfunded groups. And a fun fact about me is that I type with my toes. My arms are fully paralyzed. So, I learned how to do that and be, just as quick as having hands.
Those of you that just caught that, Christina did something really inclusive that we all can learn from. When she introduced herself, she described what she was wearing and what she kind of looked like for those that can't see. And so I'll do the same. I have a black button-down shirt with a black blazer, and I have a pompadour kind of blonde hair and brown eyes. How's that?
I am also a white female with long brown hair, and I am wearing a white sweater today.
When you talk to clients, how do you make the business case rather than, it's a nice thing to do. Yes, it drives innovation for some businesses, but would it really drive innovation for my business? How do you make that case?
1 in 5 people have a disability, but 4 in 5 love someone with a disability. And this community has income, $8 to $9 trillion of disposable income around the world. So really giving them the numbers and showing them that disability is a part of everyone.
A lot of people who don't have a disability know someone, love someone who does have a disability. So, even if the product wasn't for them, they're going to share it. Sometimes they shop for them or they're a caregiver or whatnot. 80% of customers who purchased, actually it was both adaptive and non-adaptive, because we have to remember, just because a customer needs an adaptive shirt doesn't always mean they need adaptive pants. So a lot of these customers are cross-shopping, which makes them a more valuable customer with all of our data. But 80% of them were new to the brand, and that number has stayed consistent. That was in the first 2 years.
Christina, would love your thoughts and your knowledge from the agency side here. Do you have any insights in this area? Can you share with how a marketer can go about developing a keyword strategy that is more inclusive of people with disabilities?
Doing the research, they understood and really paid attention to how people with disabilities or in the disability community spoke about it. and what they called it. Adaptive fashion wasn't exactly what they called it at the initial because there was never this type of product. And then also understanding kind of the inside baseball language that's within the disability community, kind of like spoony, or, person who uses a wheelchair, is not using the word wheelchair bound. So really trying to spend time to understand what the community and their kind of language around everything. I think that is very key.
Shortly after we did the research on language and just understanding, we obviously did some of our first media campaigns, and they were all pretty small, all digital. We went directly into showing those layouts and additional layouts to people who are part of past focus groups, new focus groups. We looked at people with disabilities, without disabilities. Would this make sense? So again, we were always going back to that research and that conversation with the customer to be able to learn what we should do next.
What is the most important learning, Christina, that you want to share with the ad industry to help them on this journey?
Always asking the question, who am I leaving out? And that's not even just for the advertising community. If you make a decision that affects somebody else, you need to always ask that question before you make that decision, because we are constantly making decisions that affect other people.
What would you call Make It Possible? Is it a brand purpose? Is it an initiative?
It's a great, program that isn't just a marketing initiative. It's a whole company initiative to really, bring in sustainability and the conversation around sustainability, but also inclusivity and how do we weave all these different things together and really push forward for the future.
So thank you all for joining us on this segment of the Inclusive Marketing Lab, where I believe we laid out some powerful examples from Sarah and Christina on how to drive growth through empathy and inclusion.
Hey Microsoft advertising partners, it's that time of year again. Time for annual Partner Awards celebration, coming to you live on February 25th. This year, our theme is Forward Together. If you are a partner, be sure to register today. You don't want to miss this virtual gala. It's the Microsoft Advertising Partner Awards, and tune in February 25th through the link on your screen.
Hey everybody, John Lee here, Head of Evangelism at Microsoft Advertising. It's a new year, and that means resolutions, and a chance to revisit old habits and beliefs. For example, Pop Rocks and Coke do not make your stomach explode, but your dentist may not like it. Or maybe you're still holding back from running campaigns on Microsoft Advertising. Like Bing, man, my customers only use Google. There's not enough traffic on Bing. I'm too cool for Microsoft Advertising. Well, I resolved to challenge those assumptions right now. It's myth busting time. Myth number 1, my customers only use Google. The Microsoft Search Network and Microsoft Audience Network combined are reaching over 500 million people worldwide. And Microsoft Advertising addresses 1 in 5 searches across all devices and 1 in 3 searches on PCs. And we're not talking about just Bing.com. Our network includes Yahoo, AOL, and through our search partner network, sites like DuckDuckGo, Forbes, and the Wall Street Journal. Myth number 2, Microsoft Advertising is just for B2B and old people. Interesting. The truth? Diversity of audience is the name of our game. More than half of Microsoft Advertising's audience is under 45, split 50-50 men and women, 33% have college degrees, and 1/3 have household incomes over $85,000. The Microsoft Advertising audience includes 48.6 million PC searchers you can't reach on Google. 28% of clicks are unique to the Microsoft Search Network, and 18% of monthly searches are new queries. Myth number 3, Microsoft Advertising is not state-of-the-art tech. I need features that will elevate my campaign performance. We know your ads need to stand out and grab a searcher's attention. We've got dynamic search ads, responsive search ads, and are pushing innovation with action extensions, multi-image extensions, and coming soon, multimedia ads for search. Is audience targeting important to you? Remarketing, check. In-market audiences, check. Do you work with a data management platform? Sync those DMP audiences with our custom audiences feature. Oh, and have you tried this little thing called LinkedIn profile targeting yet? Automation, super important, right? How much time do we have left? Bid strategies, automated rules, campaign experiments, Google import, ad customizers. I could keep going, but I think you get the picture. Myth number 4, search is boring. I need more to really engage with my customers. Meet the Microsoft Audience Network, not your average native ads channel. If you didn't know already, native advertising is growing a lot. By 2025, this market is set to be worth more than $400 billion globally. We're addressing that market with the Microsoft Audience Network, programmatic native with CPC bidding that is available directly in the Microsoft advertising platform. Serve your native ads on high quality placements on Microsoft properties and premium publisher partners. And sleep soundly, knowing that we maintain strict publisher standards, conduct ongoing quality monitoring of ad placements, and we have partnered with Integral Ad Science to provide brand safety across the Microsoft Audience Network. Whew, that was a lot of information. Are you good? I'd bet you're more than good. I'd say there's a really good chance you've already reached for your New Year's resolution list and added, John was right. I resolved to grow my business with Microsoft Advertising in 2021. To stay tuned in with what this year has in store, subscribe to the Microsoft Advertising Insider newsletter today. And with that, see you next time.
Thanks, John. All right, this session of the Noodle has been months in the making. The LinkedIn B2B Institute, moderated by our London colleague, Tina Aird.
Hello and welcome to the Noodle, a virtual get-together to discuss emerging trends and opportunities that are top of mind for marketers. My name is Tina Aird and I'm coming to you from London. This time we have a very special session for you. I'm joined by Ty Heath, John Lombardo and Peter Weinberg, all from LinkedIn's B2B Institute. They're here to discuss 3 key trends from a brilliant report they have just published called 2030 B2B Trends. What is the B2B Institute and what triggered this report?
Well, thanks so much for having us. The B2B Institute is a think tank that researches how to accelerate growth in business-to-business relationships. We collaborate with experts to investigate how marketing can create more value. And so this trends report is part of a series of reports that we've done over the past 5 years. And so these 3 trends that we're going to talk about are the most durable and the most contrarian trends we have. And these are the trends that are worth investing in over the next 10 years. So we've got the war on brand, we've got blockbuster marketing, and the death of hyper-targeting.
War on brand, that's quite a statement. Tell us what you mean by it.
It's about the right balance between long-term growth and short-term. And specifically, it's about the battle for marketing budget. I think we all feel it. Brand marketers have been losing the budget battle for years. We know that 95% of campaigns are actually run on CPC. And so this trend looks into the fact that there's short-term marketing and long-term marketing. And we know that short-term marketing does increase sales right away, but we also see that the results decay and the effectiveness doesn't increase over time. By contrast, we want people to understand is that brand marketing also generates short-term sales, but the true strength, the real value of brand is in its effect on future sales. Brand effects compound and last longer. And that's why we believe that brand is worth investing in. It drives more growth for business than sales activation. Sadly, marketers aren't waiting long enough. They're not investing long enough for brand to bear fruit. Only 4% of B2B marketers are actually measuring programs past 6 months.
Blockbuster marketing, what is that?
It's just, I guess, a reaction to the fact that everybody in marketing is obsessed with test and learn, making small bets. But if you actually want to think about how to monetize content in digital formats on digital platforms, it's not about making small bets, it's actually making big bets that works. You know, look at Disney. There's no better example than Disney when it comes to monetizing content. Disney does 4 things. They make big bets, as I talked about. They have a concept called surprising familiarity. They're very distinctive in their look and feel. Think about Pixar. Then they've got total merchandising, which is maybe what they're most famous for, but they're making fewer and fewer movies every year, so bigger and bigger bets. And you can see that if you go look at their slate, they're down to 8 or 9 movies a year. They're also using a strategy called surprising familiarity. That means you see the same thing over and over and over, Star Wars, so that's what's familiar. But the storyline and the characters change, that's what's surprising. We actually like to see things that are familiar to us. So surprising familiarity can be a concept that can be used in B2B marketing as well, for example, where we do our work. Salesforce does a really good job doing the state of sales every year, but they change the content. So that's number 2, surprising familiarity. Number 3 is consistent distinctiveness. You know, think about any Pixar film. You can see a Pixar film and know it's made by Pixar. It has a very distinctive look and feel. Marvel does a really good job with a consistent look and feel. If you want to go further afield, watch a Wes Anderson movie. You'll know it's a Wes Anderson movie right away. Number 4 is about total merchandising. And Disney will take the same idea, so the X-Wing or the Death Star, and they'll make a Lego set, and they'll make a DVD, and they'll make a video game. And the same thing is true in B2B marketing, actually. You can take a webinar like this, and you can put it out as a social post, you can put it out as a webinar, you can do a live event. And so it's taking the same format, right, and just putting it in different channels. So those are the 4 ideas.
I'd love to make some merchandise off the back of this. So we couldn't leave this conversation without addressing the death of hyper-targeting.
Yeah, the death of hyper-targeting is the big media trend we expect to see play out over the next decade. So the idea is, consensus opinion in the industry is that the future is all about hyper-targeting, reaching exactly the right buyer. In B2B, that's, targeting the CIO at the pharmaceutical company with 10,000 employees in Cincinnati, right? And I think what you're going to see over the next decade in both B2C and B2B is a move towards much, much broader targeting. We call it category reach. It's about reaching anyone who could potentially buy from you now and in the future. And in the report, we cover sort of what we see as the fatal flaws in hyper-targeting as a tactic. And I think the through line is just that it's based on a lot of assumptions, and they're unsafe assumptions. So for instance, it's based on the idea that we have incredible third-party data that allows us to reach exactly the right people. Except if you look at the academic literature, most third-party data is really, really bad. Can't even get gender right 50% of the time. So I would say hard to target CIOs based on third-party data. Bunch of other issues too. People move between segments. So if you're trying to reach a CIO today and you use hyper-targeting to reach them, you're not accounting for the fact that there's going to be other CIOs in the future. You need to target junior IT people who become senior IT people. According to our LinkedIn data, about 40% of users change jobs, functions, industries, seniorities every 4 years. And then finally, I would just say hyper-targeting assumes that marketers can predict the future and know exactly who's going to buy from them. And you just need to reach that audience with laser precision. But I think what we see in our data is that the most effective targeting strategy is just to go very broad and then let machine learning algorithms optimize the targeting over time. So I think marketers need to get more comfortable with the unknown and just embrace the fact that you can't predict the future. It's much easier to make optimizations than predictions. And for all those reasons, we think broad targeting is a better strategy than hyper-targeting.
Time now for open perspectives. Specifically, what will diversity, equity, and inclusion mean in the year ahead? We posed this question to some brilliant thinkers. Here are their perspectives.
I've been asked to share what I feel the focus of 2021 should be. Your team, your people, they're traumatized, they are confused. That is your company. Your company depends on your people. My focus would be to make sure your people are taken care of. Your people need to know what you stand for. They need to see how and what that looks like. Transparency, acknowledgement, systems, processes, put it into action.
The corporate workplace has largely been built for and around white men, rather than the full diversity of our population and workforce. As business leaders, our greatest opportunity to put into practice our diversity, equity, and inclusion is in designing the future of work. As we think about the next frontier of work, we need to prioritize leveraging the opportunities this new reality affords us without exacerbating existing inequalities.
Some of the things that I think that we've got a grand opportunity to explore as well as implement in regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion are to continue to push towards a more equitable approach in our full cycle recruiting process, really taking a look at where we have fallen short in terms of our inability to connect with and place people of color in positions throughout an organization, specifically in leadership. Happy 2021, and again, thank you so much for including me.
Wow. Thank you to Christina, Erica, and Rebecca for such powerful advice. Join us for our next Open Perspectives event in March. Visit the link below. Okay, that's a wrap for episode 5. And on behalf of Jeff Cologne and everyone at Microsoft Advertising, thank you for tuning in. And thanks also to our special guests, Christina and Sarah from Tommy Hilfiger. And thank you to the LinkedIn crew, John, Peter, and Ty. Next month, an interview with special guest, Sunny Bonnell and Ashley Hansberger, authors of Rare Breed. a book that looks at how we can tap into our vices for success in business. And of course, more insights, more noodling, and more fun. I'm Jennifer Solomon Baum, and see you next time. Okay, we're gonna bring Jeff back online. No. I don't think this is working.
Leading this evolution is Microsoft Corporation.
Technology is fabulous.